Alright, Jerome Powell just basically testified in front of Congress and the Senate for 2 different days. And today I'm just gonna be consolidating whatever that was actually being told during the long-ass meeting. Okay, you're not gonna spend 7 hours going through the whole entire meeting because it was boring. Okay, I'm gonna be concising everything down for you guys so that you guys don't have to watch the whole 7 hours. Okay, it's gonna be quick, it's gonna be fast. Okay, but before I go on, just help me by tapping the subscribe button down below. Okay, and of course, since you're there, just like this video as well. By the way, let's talk about this whole situation. Okay, so of course, with Jerome Powell coming on in front of the Congress and the Senate talking about all this different thing, usually that's going to be moving markets. But right now, the market is not exactly moving as much. However, there's some things that actually did happen during the whole entire meeting, and I'm going to be talking about it today. Okay, so first of all, during the SEP for the FOMC, okay, for people who do not understand, SEP is basically the summary of economic projections. Okay, during the FOMC meeting, it was actually being released for the summary of economic projections. According to the Federal Reserve, we are expecting 2 more rate hikes to be happening in this year alone. Okay, so for example, if we're expecting 2 more rate hikes, a lot of people are thinking maybe Jerome Powell is just kind of fronting that, we're not done with the inflation fight. We're going to have 2 more rate hikes, but we're not sure when. And then eventually for the next SEP release, he might actually lower it downwards. That's what a lot of people were actually initially thinking about. However, now people are thinking that maybe that's not going to be the case because Jerome Powell basically said in the Congress meeting, saying that, yeah, we're definitely going to be doing at least 2 more because the fight is definitely not over yet, and we don't think that the rate hikes are going to be affecting the whole entire market as much. So this kind of brings forth the whole point about the banking system. Okay, so of course, for people who missed out on this, the last time we had a testimony in front of Congress, it was actually before the Silicon Valley bank collapse. Okay, and during the whole entire collapse, of course, just to give you guys a brief rundown of what actually happened was because the bank were overexposed to treasuries, and because of the fast pacing of increment of rates, for those banks who were overexposed to treasury, they got basically destroyed. Long term wise, they're still going to get back their principal, but in the short term wise, they're going to be losing out a lot of money on bonds. Okay, so effectively, what was talked about in Congress was a lot about that as well. They're actually asking Jerome Powell, do you think that increasing the rates at that speed was one of the core reasons why all these banks are actually failing? And what Jerome Powell basically reiterated for the rest of us are saying that, I don't think so. And personally, I don't think that's the case either, okay? Just because you have a few banks that mismanage their funds, that does not equate to the fact that the increment of rates are actually destroying the whole entire banking system. Because if that were to be the case, I would assume JP Morgan would already feel the brunt of it. I would feel Morgan Stanley would feel the brunt of it. I feel that, I want to say Credit Suisse, but they actually felt the brunt of it because they basically just got delisted and got, bought over. So, not the Credit Suisse. Okay, so clearly the rate that increases wasn't the issue. Okay, but of course, a lot of people are still thinking that would actually be an issue simply because if the rate hikes did not actually happen, these banks did not have to go under. Effectively, kinda the case. Okay, so but anyway, that aside, afterwards they actually talked a little bit about stable coins, and they are talking about how they don't really need another stable coin because they already do have a stable coin for the United States. So there wasn't really much going on. I think Congress was the members. They actually promised us to be asking hard-hitting questions. A lot of them did not really ask any hard-hitting questions. I thought that it was kind of boring. I almost slept after 2 hours in. I had to kind of slap myself awake about 2 hours and 30 minutes into it. I managed to finish it, and for the Senate meeting, I just sat through about an hour and a half, and I know for a fact that there wasn't really anything important that was actually being said. Okay, but what we do need to talk about as well, because for the Senate meeting, it actually happened right after the Bank of England decided to raise their interest rate up to 5%. Okay, they increased the interest rate by 50 basis point increment. Okay, so what this actually brings forth as a whole new discussion right now is Bank of England, they are ready to actually fight inflation to its maximum. Right now, where everyone is actually only raising by 25 basis point increment, the Bank of England decided to raise by 50 basis point. Okay, what this actually would kind of shout to the whole world is that I don't think that the United States are actually lying. I don't think the Feds are actually lying, because the Feds, they're actually serious about 2 more rate hikes. What this 50 basis point increment kind of insinuate in a certain extent is that the Feds are most likely going to be following suit as well. Okay, that means that Because 50 basis point increment is also essentially equivalent to two 25 basis point increment, which is also equivalent to whatever the two hikes that Jerome Powell was talking about as well. Okay, that means two different hikes that we're going to be getting in 2023. A lot of us are actually expecting it to be happening in September and also December. But of course, depending on how the rates actually go, can easily go even more than just two hikes. We can actually even see three hikes. Okay, but right now, what Jerome Powell actually said in front of Congress is that, chances are the two hikes is gonna be happening more than it is not. Okay, which is why the market is starting to price in a little bit for the two different hikes. However, you have to also take into consideration post FOMC meeting, the market was already slowly pricing it in. Because after the FOMC meeting, when we actually got the SEP, they already talked about it. Okay, it was all talked about, okay? During the FOMC, when the SEP dropped, I even explained it in the video as well. They're talking about how there's going to be two different rate hikes, and also they're expecting rates to stay relatively high even in 2024. Okay, that means that we're going to have very, very minimal cuts happening in 2024 as well. Okay, so in 2023 alone, there's still going to be quite a little bit of a fight for us to actually continue on, which is why the market was basically already kind of pricing it in a little bit. Okay, however, right now, when Jerome Powell kind of basically come out to talk about it, it's not exactly something that comes as a surprise. A lot of people were really expecting it to a certain extent. So yeah, because of that, the market wasn't really moving as much. However, if you actually look at the crypto market, the crypto market was actually up by quite a bit. I remember during the Congress meeting that happened 2 days ago, Bitcoin was up about like 3 to 4% or so. But of course, I think that was due to the fact that they were talking about stable coins. And of course, when they were talking about stable coins, right now for the whole entire crypto market, they need any sort of catalyst for them to actually have any sort of a buying or selling pressure. So, which is why, like I said before, very, very, very long ago, I've already talked about it, which is get out of cryptocurrency if you cannot really withstand the volatility. For myself, I couldn't handle the volatility, so I got out of the cryptocurrency and I put in all the cash. Of course, eventually I invested them into the market. But yeah, because that, and then I kind of missed out on the Bitcoin rally for a little bit. But of course, I don't think I really missed out that much. I think, I lost the cost of opportunity by like a few $1,000s. I don't think that's really anything to shout about. But yeah, for the whole entire meeting wise, I think for the Senate meeting, they didn't really talk about anything that important. So yeah, surprisingly, I was really expecting a lot more from this entire meeting. I was really expecting Jerome Powell to talk more about the whole entire banking situation, but he did not really punt on any of the question. He basically just deflected single thing by saying that what they actually did was actually right, which is increasing the interest rate wasn't really the main contributor to why all the different banks were actually collapsing, which is correct. I don't think that there was anything wrong about that. So yeah, because of that, then basically the bank stocks kind of also did not really do anything. Actually, the whole entire market was kind of just quiet in a sense. But yeah, that's kind of all that actually happened during the whole Congress testimony and the Senate testimony. But yeah, anyway, I will be recording another video for next week, which will be talking about the bull rally or the bear rally that we're going to be having in this year as well. I thought that's going to be an interesting video for me to actually record as well. But anyway, that's all I have for this video. Like I said, very, very short. I can easily cover 9 minutes of content for whatever that's going to be happening in 7 hours. Okay, so thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.